R. Kelly's fate is not random. Are you curious to learn more? By the end of this video, you are going to understand why R. Kelly is the way that he is. Stay tuned. It's JFO here with another High Vibes Friday video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Jennifer R.Kelly, but everyone calls me JFO, and you can too. I have been studying astrology since I was about 14, 15 years old, and I've also studied self-help, spirituality, everything you can think of. I have so much information to share with you. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below, and make sure to click the bell so you get notified every time I have a new video. Today we are doing a new series called Astrology in Real Life. Every month, I'm gonna give you a celebrity birth chart video so you can see how I read charts, but also learn about your favorite celebrities. Now, this one is a little bit heavy on my heart, and I was kind of questioning if I should even do it because I don't really want to give R. Kelly more attention. I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. I watched it in the last week, and boy, oh boy, was it dark and intense. My heart goes out to every single victim and every single woman that was traumatized by R. Kelly's actions. But while I was watching this documentary, the entire time I was looking at R. Kelly's birth chart, and I was fascinated at how aligned it was. Knowing astrological information really helps me so much. It helps me have more compassion for people. It helps me understand why things happen the way they do. And I really, really wanted to share this information with you so you can view this documentary and all the information about R. Kelly in a totally different way. Disclaimer number one, as I always say, you are not your sign. Me sharing R. Kelly's birth chart is not me saying that what he has done is okay, or that what he has done is based on the fact that he's a Capricorn. Like I always say, you are your energy. You are your vibration. Astrology is neutral, and it has the potential for greatness, and it has the potential for darkness, depending on where your vibration is. So truly, R. Kelly and his actions are based on his vibration, but the themes of his birth chart are so accurate to everything that was shared in the documentary. And so that is where we're gonna focus today, but just know, I'm not using the astrology to make light of what he did. What he did is horrible. What he has done to people is just so sad. And if you have not seen this documentary, I highly recommend watching it so that you can be made aware of a lot of issues that have come up through this experience. Not just themes around how abusers work, but a lot of other things that really were brought to light to my eyes about how Black women in America and in the world are treated. The biggest thing I learned from this is that you have power. You can bring people your light, or you can bring people your dark. And it's your responsibility to heal whatever darkness is within you so that you're not transferring your darkness. Right now, we're living in a world of the coronavirus, right? And that's a great example that someone could naturally just give the virus to someone else. It's the same with our energy. If we have darkness within, and we have wounds and pains within, and we don't feel our emotions, and we don't manage our emotions, and we don't take responsibility for what's going on within us, we will use others as a way to avoid, and we will transfer our darkness to them, because we all have light and dark within. So it's very easy, if you're not managing your mind and you're not managing your vibration, it's very easy to allow another to bring up the darkness within you. And that was a huge theme of this documentary. These women that are victims, they are not responsible for what happened. Their brains were not fully developed yet to even understand what was really going on. They were 14, 15, younger than 18. And in the documentary, they even talked about how your brain is not fully formed until you're in your mid-20s. You don't make decisions from your prefrontal cortex. You're making decisions from your primitive brain. Now, we're all making decisions from our primitive brain. If you're eating snacks at night, you're making decisions from your primitive brain. But I digress. The point is we have to understand that the reason why this situation is so dark is not that R. Kelly was taken advantage of and sexually abused when he was younger, he never worked through those wounds and those issues and that darkness, and therefore transferred that darkness to others by using them to avoid his own work, his own wounds. But those women happen to be a vibrational match because he was triggering up within them their own darkness, right? And a lot of them talked about that. A lot of them talked about how they didn't have a father figure, or maybe they didn't have a mother who was present in their life, and they had a lot of sexual abuse in their childhood as well, and so they became a vibrational match. See, this is a spiritual assignment here. When two people come together in any relationship, it's a spiritual assignment. It's a vibrational match to help each other heal those unhealed wounds in childhood. So that's just your natural spiritual 101 of relationships. But in this scenario, what was so interesting is that his darkness, his unhealed darkness, was contagious, just like the virus, right? It latched on to the darkness within others. And instead of those women bringing out their light, which was the intention, right? They were coming to him, you're going to help me with my music career. You're going to help me with my passion of singing. Instead of maintaining that light that was in them, that sparked that excitement in them. And the reason why they wanted to connect with him and the reason why they fell in love with him was that passion for music. Instead of harnessing that light, he brought out the darkness within them. And that really is the victim bully line. And we'll talk about that in another future video. Before I show you the chart reading, it's so exciting. You're going to see an entire chart reading. I want to know in the comments below, have you seen the R.Kelly documentary? Are you going to watch it? And also, what other celebrities do you want me to talk about in my monthly celebrity astrology in real life video? Okay, so here is Robert Kelly, R. Kelly's birth chart. And I just want to say that I'm getting this information from the website astrotheme.com. And I think they're getting the time of birth from a YouTube video, another YouTube video source. If you go to astrotheme.com and you look up Robert Kelly's birth chart, you'll find all that information there. But I'm going with it because it feels extremely accurate to me. And just so you guys are aware, layer 1, so like, sun sign Capricorn, moon sign Sagittarius, all of this right down here, that, other than the fact if you were on a cusp, for example, so let's just say you were, 29 degrees Capricorn, and you were born right before the sun went into Aquarius, you would need the time to really know for sure if you're 29 degrees one sign or 0 degrees the other sign. So there's really no such thing as the cusp, by the way. You're either one or the other. But in terms of just not being on the cusp, really, you don't need the time of birth to know layer 1. Layer 1 is what it is based on the day, the month, the year. It's really when you want to go into the house information, that's when you need the location and the time of birth. And so we obviously know he was born in Chicago, and we're just going with this 2:47 p.m. time. But again, I truly believe it's accurate, so accurate. So let's dive in. So you're going to see on the chart all of my JFO designs. This is how I do charts for clients. And so I created this thing called the separation line in astrology. It's not something you'll read in a book. It's something that I made up. And it's really just the 90-degree mark of the north and south node. So over here we have the north node. That's 14 degrees Taurus. And then we've got the south node, 14 degrees Scorpio. Now, what you're going to see in the chart is these 4 corners. So I made each corner with one of the nodes a color. Because the way that I do a birth chart reading is I don't go to the sun sign first. I go directly to the north and south node line. I see what that is first. And then I go to the 4 corners of the chart and I see what 4 corners of the 4 corners, 2 are on the comfort zone, 2 are on the destiny. And that's really the structure of the chart. Then I go into where's the sun, where's the moon. So let's really dive in. I took a lot of notes from when I was watching Surviving R. Kelly, the documentary. So I'm going to reference a lot of my notes here, but let's get started. So as you can see here, not a surprise. R. Kelly's South Node, his comfort zone is Scorpio. Now, this is interesting because I put his information into astro.com because that's the way I like to view birth charts. And I might be losing it, but I thought it fell in the sixth house, but when I put this in, it fell in the fifth house, which actually makes a lot more sense to me. So I'm just going to read it as it is right here. But let's just start with the Scorpio South Node because that's non-negotiable. He was born Scorpio South Node, and his destiny is Taurus. He's learning Taurus. And so right there, you've got fixed energy. Fixed energy is all or nothing. And usually when you have addiction in a chart, I don't want to say usually, addiction 1000% is fixed energy because fixed energy is passion, all or nothing, obsessive energy. The negative of fixed energy is obsession. The positive of fixed energy is passion. And so we can definitely agree that R. Kelly had the positive of fixed energy, which was his passion for music, right? That got him acclaim, and he obviously was a very, very talented musician. But the negative of that fixed energy is the addictive energy. And he specifically, his addiction obviously is a sex addiction. And Scorpio is the most sexual sign of the zodiac. The reason why Scorpio is the sex sign of the zodiac is because it's the only social stage sign that's a water sign. So it wants to emotionally merge with others. Now you're going to see here that it is in the Leo house, and the Leo house is the house of romance. It's the house of creativity. Leo represents the entertainer, and this is a big theme in R. Kelly's chart. He's got Leo, 29 degrees Leo, in the home angle. And when you watch the documentary, they talk about how in the home, he was one of the most talented of his siblings, and he was always singing, and he was always wanting to create music, and he was always writing music. Where's the writing piece? Well, you've got descendant Sagittarius on the comfort zone side, and Sagittarius is the writer, the storyteller. Sagittarius is all about the words and the truth seeking. He also happens to have Moon in Sagittarius. Now, what's interesting is they talk a lot about this in the documentary, that he didn't really know how to read and write very well. And he had a lot of issues with reading and writing, and that his ex-wife even said that how she connected with him was because he got very vulnerable with her and said, teach me how to read. And that was a very vulnerable connection piece for them. And I think it's so interesting because I looked up her destiny, and her comfort zone is Gemini. Her South Node is Gemini, which is the sign of the editor, the grammar police, whereas Sagittarius is more the writer that doesn't care about where the punctuation is. Gemini is more like the structure of writing and the editor. And what's crazy is he's got Gemini on the destiny side. And I always see this. Whenever someone has Sagittarius on the comfort and Gemini on the destiny, they usually have some issues with communicating properly, using proper grammar, or reading and writing, but they're really good at expressing their truth through some form of writing. And so that really, that is so him, in that he was a writer through music, but he couldn't really read or write. Now, that's because his rising sign is Gemini over here, but we're going to go to the destiny side in a second. Let's just focus on the comfort zone for a second. So we've got that Leo entertainer in the home. We've got that sexual Scorpio passionate energy in the house of Leo, which is in the house of entertainment. So that passionate, emotional energy in the house of creativity, romance. And then we've got that Moon in Sagittarius, lying right on the descendant of Sagittarius. And then we've got his sun sign. And his sun sign is Capricorn in the Scorpio house. And so you've got more Scorpio. Now you've got cardinal energy. Capricorn is cardinal energy. Capricorn wants to take massive control. And at best, they're leaders. At worst, they are controlling, dictators, okay? And so he's got this controlling energy on the comfort zone side. So his sun energy is on the comfort zone side. And whenever someone has that Capricorn and they're lacking that Cancer energy, they're usually very disconnected from their emotions. What's interesting is his comfort zone is emotional energy, Scorpio, but he's learning Taurus, which is Earth, and he is an Earth sign. So when you take the fact that he is an Earth sign and he's learning Earth and his moon happens to fall in an Earth house, Virgo, and then he's even got a little bit of Virgo in the home energy. He's got a lot of this earth, like I want to disconnect from my emotions and not feel my emotions. And that ended up being kind of, I think, a huge piece to why he got into this sex addiction, because he didn't want to feel his emotions. Sometimes we do this in the chart. We want so badly to be the destiny of Taurus, which is, we'll get into that in a second, it's money and all that. But it's really this non-emotional stoic energy, where a Scorpio is more emotional, social energy, where Taurus is more about being stoic for survival needs. So he really, I think, went too far to this part of not going to feel my emotions, which propelled him to want to suppress all of that wounding he had in childhood. Now let's talk about that. He was sexually abused in childhood, and he has Pluto, which is Scorpio planet, wounding in the home, or in the sign of Virgo, which is the body. So this death and transformation, kind of this wounding of his body in the home with sexual themes, right? I mean, you can't make this up. This is his birth chart. Like, I'm literally not making this up. This is literally his psychology. Now, he also has Venus in Aquarius and Scorpio. So not only, here's another area where he's got Scorpio. So he's got Scorpio with Pluto in the home. He's got Scorpio as his comfort zone. He's got Scorpio house where his sun is on the comfort zone. And then he's got Venus in Scorpio. I mean, like, literally so much Scorpio, so much sexual energy, okay? That's also where the passion came from in his music. But this Venus, which rules love and beauty, he has it in Aquarius in the sex house. And Aquarius is very, I want to be outside of the box. And this is kind of where the innovation of the sex comes in. And usually that innovation in a positive way is like, let's be very innovative in my, my sexual style, right? But in his story, it was these fetishes, these weird fetishes that he, so sad that he forced these, young women to do, and this controlling energy. Now he's got Mercury also in Capricorn, controlling energy, in Libra, which is the relationship house, also a cardinal sign. So he's got double whammy controlling energy within relationships. But let's really talk about this South Node combination. He has Leo and Sagittarius, both fire signs, sandwiched around this water energy of Scorpio. And so there's this impulsive nature. Fire and water are impulsive. So he's not thinking about what he's doing. He's not questioning it. He's going for it. He's impulsive. He's fiery. He's got that anger. But big thing here, he's got passive aggressive energy as well, because he's got Mars, which is ruled by Aries, the most aggressive sign of the zodiac, and Mars is the aggressive planet, in Libra, which is the opposite of Aries. But he has it in a fire house. So there's an undertone of this fire, there's the home angle of fire, there's the descendant angle of fire, and there's no filter, okay? And that emotional energy of the moon in a very critical house. Virgo is critical energy. So he's spewing this controlling, critical, very blunt, harsh energy to these women. He is literally obsessed with relationships in the home, relationships in the home, relationships in the home. This is all he's obsessed with over here, okay? And let's go to the destiny side real quick. So what he wants is a strong self and career. What he wants is this friendly energy of Aquarius, this community energy, bringing the community together at large. Gemini is selling, Taurus is money. And so what he wants is, he really wants to sell and make money and bring this more humanitarian effort to the world, okay? But what it turned into was this fakeness, this lying energy. Gemini, at worst, they're the best liars of the zodiac. But remember, that's not his comfort zone. His comfort zone is not that. His comfort zone is Sagittarius. But having that Gemini rising sign of self, You are two people. You are the sign of the twin. You have these two sides. And when you watch the documentary, they all say he had these two sides to his nature. This really caring, nurturing side of the Scorpio water energy. I care about you. I care about you, you know? But really, this other side where he is this evil, controlling, you know, basically cult director of this sexual predator experience that he's creating. And so what tends to happen with the Gemini self is we can lie to ourselves and we can separate into two people. And that's really what has happened to him. Also, the money, throwing money at the problem, constantly just, you know, giving money to these women so that they can, you know, not talk about what was truly going on. And so this is really the overarching view of his chart. But just know that he was learning earth and air energy. He was really learning to start reflecting on self, reflecting on the way he was showing up in the world, reflecting on how he can serve the world, how he could be a stable force and a friendly kind energy. And what's so interesting is a lot of people say that he showed that on the red carpet, like this friendly R.Kelly, this, you know, really witty guy. But really, there's this harsh anger of the fire energy, this intense addiction of sexual energy and wanting to control all of his relationships, and manipulation. Manipulation would be the theme of this chart. When you've got that 8th house, that descendant, that Scorpio energy all on the comfort zone side, especially with the cardinal energy of Capricorn, you're this dictator who wants to manipulate all your relationships for your own self needs. I hope you enjoyed his chart reading. I think it really helps us see how powerful the South Node is in a birth chart. His Scorpio South Node was the driving force for everything that happened to him. Whether it was that passion that drove him, that Scorpio and Leo passion that drove him to follow his love for music. Leo's the entertainer. Scorpio is emotional, passionate energy. That was his zone of genius. But as I always say, your South Node is your zone of genius, but it's also your wounding. It's also what you OD on, what you overdose on. And he overdosed on that sexual energy. He OD'd on that desire to control his sexual relationships. And until he can understand that his true destiny is to learn how to manage his mind and manage his self in the world and understand and reflect who he wants to be in the world as a man, don't think that's ever going to happen. But until he recognizes that, he will not propel himself forward into the destiny side of the chart. Now, some could say that he reached his destiny because he got a lot of money and his destiny was money, right? Taurus. But what's a destiny? Is a destiny money in a very negative experience, or is your destiny money in a very positive experience, right? So I think that what we've learned from this chart reading is that it's not just astrology. It's vibration, meeting personality, healing the suffering, and providing solutions to others through leveraging your own story of suffering. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please share it with your friends, comment below, like it, and let me know how I can help more. You're gonna wanna go to www.highvibeswithjfo.com and sign up for my free 6-day e-course called Vibe School. We also have a free community where I'm gonna help you customize your self-help for you and your personality. So make sure to check that out. Remember, you are a star in the movie of your life. You have a unique destiny that's special to you. So keep shining your light, and I'll catch you next week on the High Vibe Show with JFo.
Home, rush to see if she called or even left a message for me in a flash. All alone.